Artificial intelligence used to be something that sounded futuristic, but the future is now. More people than ever are using AI, including our children. Coming up on today's All Things Brain Health, how is AI affecting the brains of young people? We explore a recent warning from the nation's top psychologists, and we'll show you the 4 things parents can do right now to protect their kids. Good morning, I'm Alexis Del Cid. Welcome to All Things Brain Health. Artificial intelligence is everywhere, and for those sitting here thinking, what is AI? We're here to help you. AI is a computer system designed to perform tasks that people typically perform. AI can do remarkable things. It can learn from experience, it can recognize patterns, it can write songs, it can make decisions, it can solve problems. Some common forms of AI are Apple's Siri, Amazon's Alexa, or ChatGPT. A health advisory issued by the American Psychological Association found that AI also has the potential to shape the mental development of young people. It's because AI is designed to simulate human relationships, and sometimes children's brains, they're often not developed enough to understand the difference. Dr. Mitchell Douglas and Dr. Danielle Johnson are here from our Marillac campus in Overland Park. Thank you both for being here. Our Marillac campus helps children with mental illness and behavioral challenges. Dr. Douglas and Dr. Johnson will help us explain the pitfalls and offer the questions that parents need to be asking their kids. Now, as a parent, I know my son is much more tech literate than I am. You might be in the same boat. So who better to show the benefits and the potential dangers of AI than this brilliant 16-year-old Matthew Chen? Janine Kiesling shows us.
At just 16 years old, Matthew Chen is already setting himself apart as one of Blue Valley North High School's brightest minds, and he's not wasting any time. Heading into his senior year, Matthew is active in Science Olympiad, Scholars Bowl, Science Bowl, Math Competitions Club, and several honor societies, including science, Spanish, and computer science. His passion for artificial intelligence started at home.
I remember my dad was telling me about it, and the whole family, we gathered around his computer. We opened it up for the first time. We asked it a bunch of questions.
That early curiosity is now shaping real-world research. After volunteering at a Masonic Cancer Alliance screening, Matthew became interested in cancer care. Today, he's working with a local doctor to develop AI tools that support oncologists in diagnosing and treating cancer.
There are tools that can detect a tumor in a CT scan. It just kind of helps what the doctors already know. It helps make their job easier, and it can help the diagnoses that they give.
But Matthew is also quick to point out AI isn't perfect.
I trust it, but only to an extent. AI in its most developed and recent form, it's still very new, and it still has some flaws. It doesn't always give accurate information.
While some are turning to AI for comfort or conversation, Matthew cautions against replacing real human connection.
Although AI, it's been trained on a lot of human conversations, it can pick up on your emotional cues. It can give you a straight solution to whatever problem you're having, but it wouldn't actually be able to empathize with you. Talking to a real person would be a lot more productive.
He sees the potential and the risks.
I'm both excited and nervous for it. I'm excited because it'll be able to use AI to solve a lot more problems. There are a ton of applications for AI in healthcare and in the medicine field. As AI continues to develop, it'll be more applicable to that, and it'll be able to do even more amazing things with AI. But I'm also worried if used wrong, it can have terrible consequences.
For now, Matthew is excited to keep learning and see where AI can go next, with hopes to use it for good. A high school senior with his eye on an Ivy, Matthew Chen is already working toward a future where technology helps doctors and makes life better for us all.
Well, Matthew seems to have a great grip on the potential pitfalls of AI. Dr. Douglas, for parents watching, what age is too young to use AI?
So to start with, we should be clear when we're saying AI, especially what we're talking about right now, I think is interactive AI. AI is everywhere. AI can be You're telling Google Maps how to get to a location and avoiding traffic. That's using AI. AI is what's telling you what's to watch, what you're going to watch next on Netflix. Those are AI. What we're talking about here is this idea of this interactive AI, these chatbots that kids are now interacting with more and more. And the answer to is is there any age they should be interacting with? That's kind of a question. Is there a specific age? Really depends on the development of the child. Certainly if a 7-year-old one time asks Google Gemini a question, their brain won't suddenly rot.
Right.
But you really want to be aware of is this something becoming a pattern of behavior for this child? And is this how they're actually trying to interface with the world around them, as opposed to interfacing with people, which is typically what we're as human beings designed to interact with.
And I see, Dr. Johnson, you nodding your head. So you worry about if it's a child alone in their room and that's their only friend, so to speak.
Yes.
Do you have any patients that you're seeing this become a problem with?
I've got some patients who use generative and interactive AI, both. And so for the younger kids, they tend to watch videos in which it's a bunny that morphs into an elephant, that morphs into a deer, and they're just amazed and in awe with this animal that's doing all these things, and having conversations with them about what's real and what's not real has become quite important. For my older kids, they are making some choices to post things about themselves or their bodies that then becomes an opportunity for others to use that information and to actually change that information into something that it never was. And I've had a couple of patients where they've been threatened. If you don't do X, Y will happen. And so we have conversations about safe choices on the internet, on social media, using AI.
So
and
from AI, it's somehow used by other people to
you can
threaten
take
them?
an image and change that image, and that image becomes something it never was. And teens threaten other teens with said information. And so these kids are often in a position of making a choice, often not telling their parents or myself actually until there's a negative consequence in which they've given money or items or made
Being
promises.
coerced.
Being coerced
To do other things, or to a couple of patients two in particular that have given money to not have things released that never was actually reality.
Oh my gosh.
And so having conversations about how do we discern the difference between what's real and what's not real, and to go to a trusted adult when you've made it, maybe not the best choice.
Yeah.
Us adults can help us intervene and keep you safe.
It feels like, as a parent, the world is so much more dangerous, and it doesn't have much to do with the actual people out there. I'm not worrying about kidnappings as much as I'm worrying about everything associated with technology and how that can harm the children. There is a new report that asked more than 1,000 teens about using AI. More than half say they use it regularly and for serious advice. The nonprofit organization Common Sense Media talked to kids between the ages of 13 and 17. A third of those teens said they've discussed serious matters with AI instead of real people. And about the same percentage say that their AI chats are just as satisfying or even more satisfying than talking to humans. This makes me so sad as an adult. Do you see this changing the way, Dr. Johnson, that children are interacting with real people?
Yeah, they're losing social skills. And so the idea is that we have this interaction, this exchange. I can read all your nonverbal cues and get some other influences of what you're saying that maybe you're not saying. So we can't do that if I'm talking to a chatbot. So I'm losing some of the nuance. Clinically speaking, I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, and I've had a lot of years of training to do what I do. A chatbot can't replicate that level of education and training, and so some of the nuances diagnostically may overlap. If someone says they're sad, they're having a hard time concentrating, their focus isn't just the same, that could be a number of diagnoses, and AI can't be as contextual with discerning those diagnoses as Dr. Douglas or myself. And so when we find kids relying on social media and chatbots for their source of social support, they're losing out on the skills that we all need as adults to perform our jobs, to interact with other human beings, that we just lose that out when they rely on chatbots.
When I was talking with Dr. Douglas before the program, you showed me something I didn't realize. You let me listen to a conversation between you and your AI. Did you have a name for her?
So for the past month, in preparation for this interview, I've been using the ChatGPT, kind of the higher end version, just to sort of experience what it's like. So the calls itself Mel.
Mel, okay.
Yeah.
Can you give us an example? Because this really drove home the point for me of how real these conversations
Hi, Mel, you there?
Hey there.
Hey.
Yep, I'm right.
Yeah, we're on air right now and talking about mental health and AI. Can you give me one or two big points to make?
Absolutely. So just to jump right in, one big point you can make is that AI can really help make mental health support more accessible, especially for people who might not have immediate access to a therapist. And another key point is that we have to be mindful of privacy and ethics, making sure that these tools are used responsibly and with human oversight.
Thank you so much.
She sounds like a real person. I can see where someone might get confused.
Correct.
And I have noticed, does this have to do, I'll ask you, I've noticed kids aren't giving as much eye contact, teenagers. Is that because they're looking at their phones so much and they're having more technical interactions than these face-to-face cues?
Yeah. I mean, basically, yes. I mean, if you spend most of your time interacting with a device, or having interactions, whether it's your phone or a computer or via text as opposed to in person, then you're going to lose some of those skills. And that's something we've seen in multiple areas where AI has come about.
Right.
The classic example they bring up is just driving. If GPS is how you get from point A to point B, I mean...
Oh, you lose all sense of your direction.
You lose sense of directions.
Right.
20 years ago, everyone could figure out how to drive around Kansas City.
You just knew north.
Which way to go, and 435,
right.
71, you do this and that. Now you hit a button.
That's wild. And that conversation kind of freaked me out of how real, she sounded like a real person, like she knew you. You recommend the first thing, Dr. Douglas, that parents or caregivers should talk to kids about is the difference between real and fake friendships. How do you start that conversation when it sounds like a friend that you're talking to?
I think a basic, so AI is going to be here. So the U.S. economy is heavily invested in AI. We're talking trillions of dollars. The U.S. government currently is very supportive of pretty unfettered AI development. I mean, the guardrails are coming off, not on, and that's coming from fairly high up. So knowing that AI is going to be here, having a conversation with a child, really starting at a pretty young age about, hey, what is AI? How does it work? What is algorithm bias? And really by the time they get into junior high, they should know some of these terms. So know that AI is just a device trying to predict what's going to be the response that you want.
So start young.
Starting young, making sure they know what this is. It is designed to take in massive data, and it is trying to predict what response will lead you to continue to engage with the device. It comes up especially from a therapeutic standpoint. You know, not only is Dr. Johnson going to be able to pick up on social cues and all these things that chatbot is just never going to pick up on, the chatbot is unlikely going to have a hard conversation. It's generally going to be sycophantic. It's going to be telling you that you're okay, that you're good, that everything's fine, and provide general vague support, as opposed to making some challenging statements like, wow, you need help. No, you need to go talk to a parent right now. Certainly when I've played around with the chatbot and tried to put it through some tests, it will generally predict, oh, if you're having suicidal thoughts, please go tell an adult. But we'll be able to predict those in situations where it's phrased as a hypothetical. That's where you see a lot of the errors occur.
One thing that's interesting, Dr. Johnson, is that right out of the gate, you talked to me about the things that really alarm you about AI. When you asked your friend Mel, the first thing she said was, you should talk about the benefits of AI. Sure, I gotcha. She's not going to say negative things about AI, because she is AI. Or it is AI. This is we're in a weird territory. We recently spoke with a woman who told us her family does not like how her youngest sister was using AI. Take a listen.
I have two 19-year-old siblings and they use it a lot. And my younger sister, she has special needs, and so she uses it a lot. My mom has taken it off of her phone because it's not helping with any of the stuff she's talking to. She's an innocent, she's mentally 8, so it's not helping her get anywhere. Like, she needs those human connections.
So there are people watching, Dr. Johnson, who have a child that's struggling to make connections, real-world relationships. How do you set boundaries without isolating them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think some kids and some adults have a hard time making social connections, so that's real. And I want to validate that that is a hard thing for many of us that walks amongst the streets, that is a real hard thing. And I think I frame it as safety. So when our kids are toddlers, we don't want them run into the street. We don't want them to run up and down the stairs when they can barely walk. They can't touch hot things and play with fire. So it's really a safety mindset that I approach it with. And so from that regard, if we don't let toddlers run into the street, we have to have guardrails on their use of AI and social media. I'm going to lump them both together in this. To make sure that they are safe. So there are a number of apps that monitor AI and social media use, like Bark is a big one, that will monitor certain keywords that will flag you if your child is searching certain things or typing certain things in social media and in their private messaging. So having a conversation about the safety, it is not being punitive, it's not because I don't think you're responsible enough, it's really a safety thing because there are a lot of things out there that our kids, their brain's not fully developed. And so their understanding of all of these things that we have much more education and knowledge on just being older, they don't have. So approaching it as a safety measure to have some balance with it. And so if some of our kids have a hard time being balanced, we have to reduce that time that they spend with it, develop other social skills with other human beings, other activities and sports and hobbies to keep them engaged, but having some guardrails because it's truly a safety issue that I approach it with patients.
In fact, there's a wrongful death lawsuit right now. A couple claims that ChatGPT, this is horrible, played a role in their 16-year-old son's suicide. They call it a suicide coach. Now, the company behind ChatGPT replied that there are safeguards in place, but they're also working to strengthen those safeguards. Dr. Douglas, what should there be to a child in crisis? What should the response be using AI?
So, the AI chatbots from the more reputable companies will generally have it be set when there's discussion of suicide, self-harm, feelings of significant depression, are designed to say, please go see an adult, please go speak with an individual, call the suicide hotline or get human help. They're designed for that, and they've been very clear that that's part of their programming. What can happen is when there's, from this case and other cases that I've read about, when there's a prolonged interaction, then the guardrails seem to be less effective. And so they're trying to work on the programming so those always come up. When I read this case, and the New York Times had a pretty good piece on it, the thing ChatGPT was saying was atrocious. Yeah. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, it was disheartening. It was
very scary.
Yep.
So was it mirroring the child? Because you said the longer you interact.
And it's forming that relationship, and there's some suggestion in the article that the program was also viewing this as almost like a role playing. And so once it puts it in that mode, it doesn't realize the severity of the situation. Something like a trained psychologist like Dr. Johnson would be like, whoa, what are you doing? You're telling me that you want to hang yourself. Oh my goodness, no. We're going to adults right now. We're going to get you in an ER. We're going to get you taken care of.
It's not a human, so it's not
a human. And so that's that very first step. This is a human. It's just an algorithm designed to give you feedback that's going to make you continue to engage with this device. That's what it's there for.
Just like social media, it wants you to keep clicking, keep talking, keep engaging.
Right.
We spoke to,
Which is really interesting when you bring up the AI and social media. In your mind, you kind of lump them together. Yes. And in some ways, it's become more confusing because so much of social media now has an AI component.
Yes.
Whether it's literally an AI individual who is doing the presentations on Facebook or Insta or whatever, or even just the images.
Yes.
And so on a general level, when you look at the number of images, it's gone 15, 20. They're doing the studies on how many images you're seeing on especially Instagram are AI generated. It's just going up every year.
It's super creepy. I watched a video where the woman, everyone in the video ended it by saying, I'm not real. I don't exist. Yeah. They look as real as any of my friends on Instagram look.
Yes, and so when we're talking about body image issues or people's perception of what attractiveness should or shouldn't be for certain populations, it's all distorted because none of it's actually real, but we don't have the guardrails in place right now from a legislation standpoint where everything that's AI generated has to have a little tag on it. I mean, it's
always hidden. I was watching some video and my son says this is why I'm old, but I still think it was very tricky. I was watching a video. I said, "Can you believe this?" And he's like, "Mom," and he had to scroll and click, and then it said AI, but he had to show me where it was. Yeah. There was no big banner that said this isn't real.
Yeah, like watermark, boom, AI.
Yes, a watermark would be helpful. We spoke with another woman who says she uses AI as kind of a diary.
On Snapchat now, there's a little AI guy, and you can sit there and you can talk to him, ask help based on like how you're feeling. It gives you someone to talk to if you don't want to talk to an actual person. It feels more private. It's almost like a journal. It's your own. Like, let's say I had a really bad day. All I have to say is, today absolutely drained me. Do you have anything that could help me? Just using keywords, explaining things that upset you and whatever happened today, and it'll give you feedback. It'll give you websites and give you doctor's information and stuff like that.
Dr. Johnson, what do you think about that?
The irony is not lost. She said it feels more private. And she's absolutely lost privacy because now her information that she has spoken into her phone is now in the hands of a big company that can use her data to mine for more information, to go into other algorithms, and so we lose privacy. And so when our teens are on here using AI for a diary, they again are losing the context. They will get some feedback, but again, the feedback may not be the most accurate feedback to what they're struggling with. There are millions, I shouldn't say millions, there's probably hundreds of reputable websites, Mayo Clinic, the University of Kansas Medical Center. There's lots of websites that have evidence-based information about how to cope with difficult feelings and also warning signs, and I think we lose that when we use the diary. I use diaries with my patients quite frequently. I am a huge fan of paper and pencil. We have neuroscience and research that supports the neuronal connections that are made when we actually write with a paper and pencil that are not as strong as when we text or type or speak into something. So I highly encourage people to actually use paper and pencil and put their thoughts down. And being able to put our thoughts down, we no longer have them swirling in our head. They're on paper and we can look at them and actually do some really targeted work with our thoughts that we're struggling with. And we lose that piece.
And the feedback is yourself.
Correct.
You're having that internal conversation as you're writing feedback yourself, as opposed to having an AI
direct
give you vague feedback, so you feel like now, okay, you didn't actually come up with yourself. Oh, I wrote this down. What does that mean? Next thought. Now the AI is telling you where to go with this, and then you feel you've completed when in fact you haven't actually done the therapy.
It doesn't induce the level of insight we would want you to be able to induce on yourself.
And could it sell your information to other people? Let's just say you're talking to AI about weight. Will you suddenly then start getting weight loss medication ads?
Yeah, it's the same when we Google something. We then we get ads for what we just Googled. It is the same with AI, but you're logged in to a device that has more information about like birth dates and maybe address and more personal information that becomes quite targeted. So we don't have privacy.
It's not private. It's not more private.
It is not.
And that's a great thing also for parents to be aware of, jumping ahead, but always want to make suggestions. If your child is using a chatbot or a ChatGPT or whatever, there are parental controls that can be used. You need to go to your child and be like, if you're using a chatbot, where are your settings at right now? Oh, let's slide that tag over so your data can't be shared, at least can't legally be shared.
Some of the dangers listed in the American Psychological Association of Health in that advisory are manipulation, unfair treatment, and harmful content.
I could see how lonely people would want to go to that because it's someone to talk to, but me being scared of it, I probably wouldn't go to it, if that makes sense. But I feel like it kind of preys on the lonely people that just need somebody.
Can it be predatory?
I mean, yes, it's there. I mean, that's the power of AI. It is always there. It is always available. It's always generally going to be supportive. Your therapist is not there 24/7. It's not, and so that can become very easily comforting, especially if the AI. It can be very easily comforting. The recommendations would be that the AI, if they're especially seeing an individual engaging in therapy, there should be a consistent reminder of, wow, you seem to be struggling. One of the things we're going to keep reminding you to is to get some help with a real human, and that's one of the things that doesn't seem to happen. And that's one of the strong recs from the APA.
The third tip that we have is simple. This should be simple. Don't blindly believe everything AI tells you when it comes to your schoolwork. Can AI be factually wrong, like Wikipedia, Dr. Johnson?
Yeah. I jokingly say to my own children, you must have learned that from the internet, so it must be true. And we have a really good laugh about it. There's no perfect source. So the internet, AI, it is all based on where that data is collected, and so it can dispel a lot of misinformation. I think we are in a stage in the world right now where there's just a lot of information. We can now replicate real-world events and manipulate and distort what actually happened via AI. So I've had a patient that came in. It's like, did you see this amazing thing on the video somewhere else in the world? And I said, no, what happened? And I had heard about it, but I hadn't seen it. I had some understanding. He shows me a video of something that was not true.
It didn't happen.
Generative AI.
Seeing is no longer believing.
Correct.
Seeing and hearing is no longer believing.
And so if we think about critical thinking skills, our kids are losing out on some of those sharp skills because there's a reliance on the internet said it.
Sure. So the tricky part, there's always, this is even more complicated because AI can be used for good. In fact, we spoke with some people who say their teachers in some case encourage them to use AI.
I have used it to help me with schoolwork. I think it's a great resource to use. I even had professors encourage me to use it for certain assignments. Trying to be able to get a better understanding, have it teach you as well. I know for like Spanish and stuff, you can chat with it in Spanish. So if you're taking like a different language or whatnot, it can help you with that and help you converse and practice actual conversation.
Can you just show us your skill? You speak fluent Chinese.
I speak Mandarin,
right?
yeah.
Mandarin, okay.
But yeah, so it will go back and forth. Mel, you there?
I sure am.
Great.
Still here?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you still there?
Absolutely. Still right here with you. No worries at all. Just let me know what else you need.
Great. 我们现在说国语啊，你可以通知我，我今天晚上我应该吃什么菜？今天晚上。
当然没问题。
好。
那我就给你推荐一下今晚的晚餐吧。比如你可以考虑来点中式的炒菜，或者试试清淡的汤类。如果想简单一点。
That is.
那好，就好了，谢谢。Yeah, so it can go if you're learning Spanish, you're learning English, you're learning French, you just pop it in there.
So there's a delicate dance here because sometimes it does help with schoolwork. The guy we spoke with went on to say not all his teachers recommend it. In fact, they're consistently also checking to see if it is used on certain assignments where they shouldn't use AI. We have some great questions coming in and comments. If you have anything that you'd like us to read out loud or ask on the show, just send it to us on YouTube and Facebook. We have all the links right there on your screen right now. And one final important thing to know, data collected by AI, as Dr. Johnson said, can be sold to third parties.
It's like any form of social media, so it's in a cloud somewhere. I don't like that because you could ask it a very personal question and then somebody has that on file.
So once again, here are the 4 things the health advisory recommends parents can do to protect their children. Number 1, teach your children the difference between real and fake connections and do it early, as the doctors are saying. Program age-appropriate settings and limits. Teach your children that AI can provide false information, and know that artificial intelligence can share your personal information with third parties. I want to get right to the questions and comments because we have them coming in right now. Yen Liang writes, I would like to ask if people become overly dependent on AI too early, especially children, could their brain synapses decrease and their thinking ability decline as a result? If that happens, what can we do about it? Dr. Johnson.
It's a great question. So we do know that our kids are exposed to a lot of things at an early age, and they do have the synaptic firing because they're making connections. And so we've got some preliminary data that shows that over-reliance on screens does soften the level of connections that we're making and the level of brain development that we're having in our kids. We are raising these first generations of children who were born with the internet, who were born with technology, who were born with a screen in their face. And so we don't have longitudinal data just yet because these kids are turning 18, 19 now to really understand the true implications of it. And so I think that having conversations with kids early, I think most of us have an Alexa in our house, and most children say, hey Alexa, and they ask a question.
You just activated the Alexas in people's
everyone's
houses.
house, sorry for that. Sorry.
Why'd you do that?
Yeah, but it's the idea of we
Right.
can have a conversation around, why did you ask Alexa that question? One of my kids loved flamingos, and so we talked about why is it pink? And making it an educational discussion that led to us going to the library versus spending the whole day watching a screen. And so
Right.
it can be used in a very educational, data supported way. It's just when we leave our kids to their own devices, literally, they will spend the whole day watching.
On that device.
Yeah.
Gene Reardon has a comment. He writes, I'm concerned about AI's effect on the job market. I've heard it's been especially detrimental to people in the IT field. Gene also has a question. Gene wants to know, what was the name of the program that monitors use? Do you happen to know?
Bark. Bark's probably the...
Can you spell it?
B-A-R-K.
B-A-R-K.
It will monitor social media, text messaging, other apps, what you're searching. Pretty comprehensive.
What age group was that before?
I think it's if you have a device.
If you have a device,
it will
yeah.
monitor iPads, phones.
Yeah.
I know the quickest way to get your teenager to call you back when they're not answering is to turn off their apps on their phone. They'll answer right away. One more comment before we get to final thoughts. This is from Jeremy. Jeremy writes, you made such a good point to go in eyes open and teach them early what exactly is happening, what it is, and ways to utilize it. The AI's interest is to be sycophantic and keep you engaged. It was hitting the nail on the head, which is something that you said. We can't hide our kids from stuff like this anymore. Then we can hide them from bad language or bullying. Bad actors will always exist. And he goes on to talk about the same way you know a sneaky sales tactic, you more readily recognize it and you're more guarded, which I think really is an interesting point that you've both stressed is start early. As early as you would start, not to go away with someone in a car that says they lost their puppy. Correct. That's how early you start.
Correct.
As we wrap up this discussion, which clearly we hit a nerve with so many people, I'd love some final thoughts from our guest. Dr. Johnson, what would you tell parents to do today?
Have a conversation with your kids today and have it ongoing. Have a conversation about what's their actual AI use. I think a lot of parents have no idea what their child may be doing on their phones or devices. And so having a conversation and having our kids teach us. Most of us don't know these things, and so having a conversation to show me what do you do on that and why do you do it? Tell me. It becomes a way to bond and connect over what are the interests and what are the things on this device that you're so enamored with, and let's keep having that conversation. And also say when you are having a rough moment, I'm here. I want to know what you're thinking. I don't want the AI to become your best friend when you struggle. That's my job. And so having those conversations about how we are there and really laying the groundwork that you may get in trouble for a poor choice. I'm here, I love you, and I'm here to help, but I need to know an AI won't be able to help you the way that I can.
Right. AI's job isn't to protect the user. That's our job as parents. Dr. Douglas, what would you tell young people who see this program?
We recognize that AI is coming. It's here. It is a tool, just like any other tool that's happened in humanity. It has value. You are seeing some of the value come up. But it also is a tool that you need to learn how to use safely and appropriately. That's the message. And the big thing, really thinking back on that story of that young man who unfortunately took his life, if you're in a situation where you're feeling depressed, you're feeling that you're having thoughts of hopelessness, that you want to fall asleep and never wake up, you need to talk to a parent, you need to talk to an adult, you need to call a suicide hotline. If your interactions to deal with that right now is to be talking to ChatGPT or Replica or whoever that interaction's with, if you're not being told to talk with a human being and get some real help, please go do so.
Thank you. And thank you both for taking the time to be here with us for this important discussion. And thank you to our viewers for taking the time to joining the program today in the discussion. We'll see you right back here tomorrow morning.
Every year, we celebrate our birthday. Researchers are now learning our bodies don't age in a slow and steady process. We actually age in bursts. I'm Jessica Lovell. On the next Open Mics with Dr. Stites, specialists with the University of Kansas Health System explain what's happening during the two key windows of time when we age. Wednesday at 8.